know nothing. Nothing.
Okay, Trump's kind of scrambling now. He sent all these gang members to El Salvador and put them in this notorious prison there, for which we're paying. You know, we're paying millions of dollars for these people to be put there. And, you know, the original thought was, you know, that Venezuela wouldn't take them back or something. I don't think that was ever really serious. It was just, you know, something they made up. There's a judge that's been saying, you know, where's the due process on this? You just pick these guys up? Well, you know, some of them were in jail for various crimes and stuff. Not adjudicated, just, you know, awaiting trial or something. And a lot of them were just pulled off the street. And some of the reasons for these guys being, quote, gang members was they had tattoos, or maybe they just had brown skin, you know, whatever. We're going to find out a bunch of these people, just innocent people. Now, I'm not saying they're legal. They're almost always are going to be illegal aliens, which that is an administrative issue. It's not a criminal issue. They can be removed from the country, and they should be removed from the country. But you are all of a sudden taking these people and throwing them in prison without any due process. Well, you know, there's a judge been griping about this and saying, hold it, you gotta tell me what you're doing here. Well, Trump invoked this alien blah blah thing. I'll put the text of this. I'll put the first page and the last page of the text. There's like 3 pages of it. This, you know, long thing to read. But, you know, he invoked this act from 1798 so that he could get all these people out of the country. Well, that act was made for warfare, and, you know, we declared war and things like that, but not for what he's doing it for. Anyway, now he's getting in trouble over this. Everybody's starting to say, hold it, you're putting a bunch of innocent people in there. They had no due process, nothing like that. He comes up and he says, well, I'll show you the video. Look at the video, see what you think, and we'll talk about it after the video.
Sound like this judge, who the DOJ is arguing with today about the deportation flights. He wants to know why the proclamation was signed in the dark, his words, and why people were rushed onto planes.
Because we want to get criminals out of our country, number one, and I don't know when it was signed because I didn't sign it. Other people handled it, but Marco Rubio's done a great job, and he wanted them out, and we go along with that. We want to get criminals out of our country.
If there was a flight like tonight with these guys, even though it's still being litigated, if there was a flight tonight full of accused gang members, and somebody called and said, Mr. President, I know that this is still being adjudicated, but we can get these guys down to El Salvador right now. Would you say that that's okay?
I would say that I'd have the Secretary of State handle it because I'm not really involved in that.
So he's saying, well, I didn't sign that. That was Marco Rubio signed off on that, and I think he's doing a great job. Yeah. But yeah, I really don't know anything about that thing. That was Marco's situation. I don't know if Marco had anything to do with this, or he signed anything or not. I can't find anything on it. But I see Donald Trump's signature on that proclamation. And his signature, you know, the buck stops, you know, with the president, except it doesn't. It hasn't, as long as that man has been there. Truman said the buck stops here. He had a little thing on his desk that said that. But you don't stop with Donald Trump. Every time something kind of gets flaky and starts going sideways, he says, I had no nothing.
I know nothing. Nothing.
Okay, I like the Sergeant Schultz sort of thing. He always does this. Oh no, that was somebody else. Somebody else did that. I had nothing to do with that. Anyway, our great and wonderful one. What a piece of crap. That's it on this one.